Hi, Magdi.
Hello, Patrick.
Can you hear me okay?
Um, yes, I do. Yes.
Okay, I'm on a new computer in a new place, new town.
Okay.
Everything's new.
Where are
I have
you?
a new job. Still teaching though.
Where,
Um,
where, where are you? What town? Where are you?
well, I moved out of Phoenix, Arizona. Now I'm in Sholo, Arizona,
Okay.
which is a higher elevation. So there's winter here, and
Oh, okay.
it's
Well, it
lovely.
changed from Phoenix.
Yeah, big change. But I've been trying to explore resistance. Like on weekends in particular is when I get a chance to prepare for the week. And I go for these lovely walks in the woods, and um, my weekend ends up evaporating and I never get to my preparation. And I'm trying to explore where the resistance might be, or it shows up as procrastination,
Mhm.
and I just wondered if you had any thoughts about that.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, I'm sure that in your teaching, uh, there is something that you enjoy. Uh, Maybe it is just being with the students, or sharing with them, some of the your understanding of some of the material that you've prepared for them, and and in some way, uh, this is benefit for them to interact with you, and also to interact with the subject matter, to sort of chew onto the subject matter. That's part of their what makes them, what's maybe stimulates them, maybe can help them in some way. So I'm wondering if I know you enjoy your walks in the woods and you enjoy your time, it's your relaxing time during the weekend. If you can sort of turn your attention to uh, that aspect of in your teaching that is that is good for for the students, for you, and revive that excitation about that, that your contribution to them, how the universe has placed you in this particular situation where you're making a living in teaching, interacting with. They're going to ask you questions. They're going to be looking at you and interacting with you. I'm wondering if you can somehow get a little excited about that, to sort of appreciate that, and put value, some value to that, um, that may energize you in uh, prepping, getting yourself, getting the material ready, or some things maybe that are not clear for you. You take some time to, prep them. You may discover new things in your preparation of it, even beyond, what your knowledge was, because as you're preparing yourself, you can even share some new things. Oh, look what I discovered, and I was prepping and discovered this and that. Uh, so, life can it is part of, it's integral. It's not um, like divided between you know good and bad, or uh, it's a an undivided realm. Life is undivided. So your understanding and life, in your understanding, your inner peace, your well-being, and life, what you're doing, are in are one. So you don't want to sort of have a division between you, your well-being, your enjoyment, and life, and work, or no. So you want to sort of try to harmonize the interaction between you and life, you and your work, you and your students, you and other faculty, to consider everything in your life as spiritual. Everything in your life is God's doing, is spirit, and you can live it with that model, not the model that, oh my God, I have to work in order to make a living, but bring in that other aspect, especially in interacting with people, because interacting with people is consciousness to consciousness, you see. And I mean, I taught a few years ago, and I recall there was, I didn't like the pressure from the administration about, you've got to cover material, blah, 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 blah. That was a challenge, because they're operating from a different place. They're like, we've got to cover this curriculum, and in class, it's dynamic, and sometimes you feel that something hasn't been fully explained. You want to spend more time on it. But if you spend more time on it, that's going to delay, the rest of the material. And so you're not fully satisfied in having really delivered the material. And it's part of it. It's the institution. It's not like teaching people at home or in an open setting. There is usually some sort of boundaries, administrative boundaries that you have to abide by. Then you have to find your way. Maybe you meet after class with some students to go over some things, or you recommend certain materials for the students to read or study. It's important that you enjoy, to a certain extent, you enjoy the work, you enjoy your preparation, you get into the material, sort of, and there is something that's being imparted, being shared from you to the students, and of course vice versa. So there is that interaction. Sometimes our attitude is very important. Our attitude already has a judgment, or has, I don't like it, but I have to do it. So that is going to be reflected in how you feel, how you are in class, how the students perceive you. You cannot hide that, you see. So if you really, really don't like what you are doing, then of course you need to explore other things. But I would first take a look at, is it possible for me to come from a different place, not to close those bridges, not to keep the bridges open, see how I can really get into it. I can enjoy it. I can enjoy sharing it. And the more prepared you are, the more comfortable you are going to be in the class.
Yeah, that's the thing about it, is on one level, it's like doing yoga. Like, I enjoy it and I feel better after I do it.
Yeah, yeah.
But yet, for some reason, getting to the point of doing
Yeah.
is,
But it's not about you. It's more about the students and about you. You are in the service industry, so some things are bigger than you, and when you are teaching, it's bigger than you. You know what I mean? It's, of course, I understand that it's like how you feel, etc. But if to take a look, you have a number of people who are coming out of their way to be available to you. You see, so it's a little bit bigger than you. You know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah, and I do enjoy it while I'm doing it. And even once I begin the preparations, the excitement of what's coming in class, but I feel like there's some resistance that I'm not aware of. And once you become aware of it, it tends to evaporate. And so
Mhm.
I feel like there's some exploration that needs to happen.
Yeah. There are some resistances, within our body mind that are uh, completely habitual. We just sort of tendency to say yes, but, or to say no, I don't think so. It's like habitual. Um, it's really funny. Like I noticed that within myself. Like Tara tells me, "Okay, Magdi, let's go for a walk," and I notice within myself, a resistance. But of course, I don't give it much power. I just go for a walk and I enjoy the walk, and it's just really, it's just what it is. It's all is fine. Um, Many other things I should, for example, say something about, oh, this needs to be repaired or fixed, and resistance. It's a habitual uh, tendency to resist, at least for this character here. But not to give that. Okay, so there is a little resistance, and okay, then you don't have to obey the resistance. You say,
Yeah.
you can say, okay, well, there is resistance. Habitual, it's illogical. It makes no sense. No, it's like it can go back to when I was 5 years old, and they will force us to go for walks. When we were kids. Who knows? And who cares, right? I mean, so okay, there's a little resistance, and because we'd rather just go for a walk, we'd rather read a nice novel, we'd rather go swimming, whatever. Don't bother me, right? I mean, don't bother me. But because we are interactive in life, and we community, doing things, we gotta take care of food, shelter, and clothing. So yeah, as long as the resistance is not so huge, you see, it's okay. It's not a big deal.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for that. That really touched home. Just don't give it any power.
Yeah, maybe it's a push and pull thing. It's it's not so huge that it's called an earthquake. It's just some resistance. All right, no big deal. Okay, let me get into it now. Let's get ready. It's 4 o'clock. I got 2 hours. Let me get ready. You sit down. You do it. Boom.
Yeah, I just the insight that I just had from you speaking about childhood and stuff is I think I've lived most of my life with a fear of failure, and now with this understanding and how easy life really is, that there's a fear of success that comes with it. Like I've been conditioned to being average all my life. And now when I'm actually trying to live my life according to this understanding, there's a little bit of fear of success that comes in, if that makes any sense. Like
Enjoy the success when the students, get excited that understanding you're asking questions and you're clarifying the questions. I would enjoy, using the term success, enjoy the success. It's a good thing. Success is a good thing. Things working out is a good thing. Not that we have to develop a big ego about it, but there's a joy, there's a happiness in having things working out. And in my work, I've always enjoyed and felt really happy when I was meeting the deadlines for the clients, or I was coming within budgets or below budget within the on the projects. It was a success, and I was like really happy about it. And I actually go out of my way to make the point to the client that, okay, hey, look, mission accomplished, and look what we saved for you, look what we did for you. Not to brush my ego, but to share the happiness, share the excitement, So the more I think in teaching, the more you prepare yourself, and the more you sort of get in touch with your relationship with the students, and how the more you prepare, the more you can listen and answer their questions and explain things to them. But there is success in that. There is a fulfillment that you will experience, and it's enjoyable to feel fulfilled. So enjoy the fulfillment.
Yeah.
Because it feels good. It feels good.
Yeah, and that can be unnatural to someone who spent their whole life feeling miserable and caught under the.
But you don't need to live in the past, right?
Right.
We change. Things change, in life.
Right.
15-year-old or the 30-year-old or 20-year-old that I was, and that we're in a different place now. There is more understanding. There are more interactions, more relationships. We learn and we grow, and the past had its place at the time. It was what it was. It served its purpose. It fulfilled its function. And now here we are, fresh, new, available, open to a new understanding, a new way of interacting. So there are a lot of forests around where you live. Is it like mountainous or?
Yeah, there's a lake, there's mountains, there's woods, pine trees, kind of like where I grew up in Pennsylvania, but and I kind of stepped out completely on my own, and it's been lovely.
Nice.
It really has. It's been a great adventure. I'm in the process of buying a little tiny house out in the woods.
Oh, okay.
And there's all these opportunities for me to panic and start to feel the old self coming in, but for the most part, it's been wonderful, except for, like I say, these little pieces of resistance that show up on the weekends.
Yes. This uncertainty, what may happen in tomorrow, how will it unfold? You do your best in the moment, taking a look at the situation, making the decision after having done your homework. You do your research, you gather the data, you think about it, you ask questions, you come to a certain understanding. You say, okay, well, that's the direction I'm going to take. I've looked, there are no other questions arising. There is some doubt, but you've clarified the main question that you have. The rest is, okay, the uncertainty about tomorrow. Well, uncertainty about tomorrow is true for everybody, for all 7 billion of us, including you and me, So what's the big deal about that? Nothing. We live, in the moment, and we make our decisions, hopefully, from a place of intelligence and peace, and not to make decisions out of fear, out of worry. If there is fear and worry, then you wait, wait a minute, there is something we need to make decisions out of fear and worry, make decisions out of a certain degree of comfort, but there isn't 100% certainty. And we never fall out of the universe, right? I mean, what's the worst that can happen? I lose everything. Okay, fine. So I'm not going to fall out of the universe. You never lose consciousness, right?
Yeah.
It's money, house, whatever, it's consciousness. What's the worst that can happen? You're always there, supported by the entire universe. Always. It's with each one of us, and it's nothing special about you or me. All of us. We're supported by the entire universe. In whichever way the universal order, even our own thoughts, right? Our own thoughts, they come to us, they appear to us. They arise from the cosmic realm. So it's all the cosmos doing its thing. And we are, what do you call those people that go to the beach and they surf? We are surfing. We are surfing the universe, but the universe is surfing itself. It's not. There isn't a separate entity that's doing anything. It's the universe surfing itself, its own play. It's the ocean waving via body, minds, Patrick, Magdi, etc. But you do your best, you prepare yourself, you do your homework, and you live life and allow life to live itself through you, via you, interactively with others. You're never apart. You're always in interaction.
Yes.
It's playful in a way. It's not so serious.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, thank you.
In the end, those body minds are going to be gone, but consciousness doesn't die. So it's a show. It's like you are in the theater and you're enjoying the show, and you clap and you eat some popcorn, and whatever. It's a show. It's okay. So it's playful for everybody. So we want to do a harmonious play together. We have our seat. You don't go sit in somebody else's lap. You sit in your seat. They sit in their seat. We enjoy the show.
Yes, thank you, Magdi.
Okay, nice to see you. I'm glad.
Yeah, it's good to be back with you again.
Magdi.
Miss Lumina.
Hello. I even don't know how to tell this question, but it has to do with responsibilities and with recognizing what really is it that I have to do. Sometimes we hear also from teachings or from masters that accept everything that is coming into your life and don't put it away. Otherwise, it will come back in another form. But sometimes I really speak again of this situation in my life that I always accept, and then I reject. And I don't want to reject something that I have to live, that I have to face. But sometimes I think maybe it's also important to learn to reject and to say no to something. And this sometimes is very difficult to to understand what, because it is so near to us. Some situations are so near.
Yes. Well, we are all, near to each other. We're all the same consciousness. We're all the same reality. But, there are some things that are unacceptable. We have laws in society that govern, some of the most obvious unacceptable things, and there are ways in which we enjoy relating with each other, and there are ways in which we don't enjoy relating with each other, and we don't want to have certain people in our life creating chaos and being selfish, being egocentric, having their own mental trip. No, teachings that says accept everything is a stupid teaching. It's idiotic. I mean, look at animals. When there is a herd of animals, and there is sometimes an animal that is limping. Well, the herd stays around the animal for a while, and then they let it go. And the lions is going to come and is going to eat the limping. It's I think, what was it in the American Indian tradition, when somebody was getting really old, they just went out into the forest, and they died in the forest. It makes perfect sense to say no when you're coming from a place which is not like a place of ignorance, when you're coming from clarity, place of clarity, that this relationship is toxic. It is not working for me. And if it's not working for me, it's not going to work for the other. It's not possible for a relationship to work for one person and not to work for the other. If it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for him or for her. If it doesn't work for him and for her, it doesn't work for you. That's how relationships are. So you can liberate yourself and liberate the other to, okay, go live your life in the universe, whichever way. I free myself and I free you. We free each other, rather than remaining bound and complex and complicated. We free each other. You should not sacrifice yourself for the sake of some spiritual teaching that says accept everything. That's ridiculous. Our duty to our children is up to a certain point. The child, we feed them, we take care of them, we educate them, we share with them our understanding. At some point, they're adults. And they can live their life whichever way they choose, whichever way God chooses. We share our understanding, we give our opinion. But we don't know what is good or bad for the other. We don't know. We don't know.
Yes.
Maybe it's good for my son to be a drug addict. How do I know that it's not a good thing? Well, because he's not going to have a home, he's going to be sleeping under the bridge, etc., etc., etc. How do I know that is not good for him spiritually? How do I know that? How do I know that? It's clear that he's going to be cold, he's going to be, and obviously if he's going to come and ask me for help, I'm going to help. I'm going to say, okay, you need some help? Well, what do you need? Here is some money to rent an apartment, or let me help you with in a certain way without, of course, creating chaos in my life. But the point I'm making is, we should not be so certain what is good and bad for the other.
Yes.
Of course, we feel, we have compassion, we feel some empathy when somebody is experiencing some difficulty. We wish them peace and happiness and love and abundance and wealth. We wish that onto everybody. But God makes no mistakes. Everything that is unfolding in the universe is unfolding just as it should, including for you, for your son, and for everybody, for my son, for my daughter, for everybody. So in terms of responsibility, responsibility is a response that has God's understanding, not a response that comes from fear and worry and concern. Responsibility is a response, the proper responsibility is a response that comes from God, from understanding. Understanding is love, freedom, peace for everybody involved. That it doesn't have sacrifice in it. This whole thing about sacrifice, I don't know. That's a different story. I don't know what that is. It's to sacrifice. No. It's all about peace, love, freedom, beauty, celebration, enjoyment, including the difficulties we have in our life. The difficulties we have in our life, they have their place, they have their meaning. We should not have issues with that. So welcome whatever is happening to us, but this does not mean accepting. Welcoming meaning we don't push it away. We examine it. We explore it. We try to understand it. We don't judge it. But it doesn't mean we are going to wear those shoes, because those shoes are tight and they make us blisters in our feet. We don't have control over how our children are. We don't. We have very limited effect. And it's good for us to experience these moments where we are crying for help. Because when we are crying for help, in a deep sense, we are crying for God. We're crying for peace. We want the peace. So it's good to be crying for peace. Otherwise, we remain in our patterns. But you hit your head against the wall again and again and again and again and again. At some point, you just stop doing that. And we don't know if it's the 10 times, we're going to stop after the 10 times, or we're going to stop after the 100th time. We don't know. Maybe it's going to be another one more time. Well, maybe it's going to be 50 more times. My head in the wall. We don't know. So for you, the peace of being is most important. It's not selfish. Because peace is universal peace. It's never personal peace. There is no such thing as personal peace. The peace of being. Being is not personal. Being is universal. So to remain as the peace of being, to relate with your son from this place, the peace of being, not to be disturbed, and to be, oh my God, he's coming and shaking you, and you become all shaken. No, you don't get shaken, because he is free to do whatever he wants, because his freedom is the same as your freedom. It's equal, which is God's freedom. It's God's freedom in him to live any way he wants, to do any way he wants. Now, of course, if he comes knocking on your door for some help, then you have to evaluate how much help am I available to give, and what kind of help. What kind of help, for how long, and what is the cost for you? Because then you're going to need help. If you go overboard, then you need help.
Yes.
I don't worry about my children. I'm not sure that you do. I'm not saying that you do, but because my children are the children of the universe. So we all are. We all are the children of the universe, as a way of speaking. And this dream is a temporary dream about understanding. It's about understanding the dream, understanding the game. Because understanding liberates, understanding frees you, liberates you. It relieves and releases all the burdens from the mind. What is the point of living burdened in the mind and the body? What's the point? What for? The burdens, the worries, the concerns. This life is about understanding. And the understanding that frees us, the liberating understanding. The glimpse that liberates you from fear and worry and concern. That is the most valuable. And guilt is one of those weird, crazy things. You don't want to guilt. Guilt is nonsense, because it assumes that there is a personal doer that did wrong, but there is no personal doer. You don't choose your thoughts, so we don't do guilt, regret. No, I mean, sometimes we realize, oh, we did something, we hurt somebody, we say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you. After the fact, we realize that, yeah, it's okay. But that doesn't mean guilt. Say, I'm sorry, I didn't know it was going to hurt you. I thought it was innocent. And even when you hurt somebody, knowingly, and later you realize, oh, why did I do that? You can also say, okay, I'm sorry. Or if you cannot say I'm sorry, sometimes you cannot say I'm sorry. Then it's okay. Well, you acted stupidly, and so what? I mean, the universe does a lot of stupid things. I mean, look at the volcanic eruptions, destroy villages and kill people. One could say that's pretty stupid. Universe is being stupid. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. In the end, all these bodies, they die, That consciousness,
Yes.
not that consciousness, that's not that. It's always consciousness talking to consciousness, right? It's always consciousness.
So beautiful. I really feel it so deeply what you are saying, and when I listen into myself, I hear that exactly what you are saying, and but I have to stay with that and to be, yes, to also to see that the only responsibility I really have is to wake up to this truth and not to change things around.
Yes.
This-
And you should not accept everything. No, you are not a punching bag, Somebody who
Yes,
you say no from a place of clarity, perfect. And then you let it go.
yes. Thank you so much.
Because both Patrick and Mina have brought up things that are kind of situational things, in their life, and that inspired me because, I work at an art gallery, and it's a cooperative gallery, and there's one of the members there is a very difficult person for me, and I would say over the last year, if I counted up the 10 times I was the most angry, 9 of them had to do with her. She is a very bossy person. She's, in a loose way of speaking, she's my boss, even though it's kind of loosely speaking because it's a cooperative. But she's very bossy, and a lot of the times the things that she's bossy about, I disagree with. And so I find myself in a very uncomfortable position because I'm very non-confrontational generally, and she she's the type of person who this conflict doesn't seem to faze her. She'll shoot off something that triggers me very intensely, and it doesn't really seem to have any reciprocal effect on her at all. So as a sensitive person, it's a really challenging situation for me to be in, especially because currently what has me triggered right now is I'm trying to do something helpful for the gallery, which is putting together an email newsletter. And I feel like she's just making it so difficult. She's making it so difficult for me to do that. And so, I mean, I've already drawn some inspiration from some of the things that you've said today, but I guess, mostly I would want to ask about dealing with this sort of perfectly difficult person, who's perfectly difficult for my personality. And then also maybe just along the lines of, what Patrick was saying, the advice you were giving him about bringing like excitement to his work and stuff. I think with the gallery, I've always had this ambivalence about if I want to be there, if I want to stay there. So I think I'm really primed when things get difficult to just be, start thinking about quitting and, and these sorts of things. But on the other hand, and you'll know why this is mixed, but on the other hand, it's a good income source for me, and but I don't want to, obviously, I don't want to just, and it has other good qualities too, but I think generally the income has been the tipping factor, for me staying there a number of times. Actually, I really like a lot of the other people I work with, so I should put that in too. It's, yeah.
Right. So, there are two aspects, Holly, to what you are sharing. On one hand, there is a balance between what you are benefiting materially, in terms of your income, your exposure. What are the benefits, the professional benefits that you are getting from this relationship, versus, on the other hand, the difficulties that you are having in the interaction with this person. So if the benefits for you are outweigh the difficulties that you're having with this person, then you can focus. You can focus on the benefits. So I am doing this job. I'm interacting with this a whole person, okay? But I'm getting so much money. I'm getting, this, and that's what I'm doing it for. I am here for that. I am not here for all of this. I'm here for that. So my focus is, that's what I'm benefiting. Now, when you are focused and you are clear about what you are benefiting, and that's fulfilling you, like, yes, that's happy, that's a good thing. It's paying the bills. It's a good thing. It will affect how you feel as a result of your interaction with this person. It will affect how hurt you feel, or how imbalanced you feel. It's possible that then you have some disregard for her craziness, her madness, or paranoia, whatever it is, because it's part of the package. The wrapping paper is pretty ugly, but inside there are the goods. When I open them, it's really nice inside. The package, it's old, it's oily, it's greasy. The box is damaged box, but inside, it's good. It's a good thing. It's a nice stone inside. So I remember years ago, I worked with this brother of mine. He was. He had like a psychological issue, in that whenever something wasn't going right in the work, he would blame the closest person to him. And I was very close to him. I was always by him. He would blame me. And there were a lot of things in business that go. They don't work as you planned them. Especially, he was not a very good. Was not successful, smart person in making things work harmoniously. So I was getting a lot of blame from him. You this, you that, you that. And I would go home every day upset, very upset. Every day I was very upset. I would be upset during the day. I would be upset when I get home. It'd take me a few hours to recover from the upsetness, and I would be like going over it. Why did he say this? And now he's stupid. He didn't understand. He's the one who, it was on. And it went on for a long time. And then one day, I don't know, out of the blue, I was talking to a friend, and she told me, okay, look, why are you there? of course, I knew all along, why I was there, where I thought why I was there. He's my brother. I have to have my brother, and also in business together, blah, blah. But when she asked this question, then I thought about, okay, really, why am I going there every day? And I realized, oh, okay, there is a benefit that I'm getting. And the benefit is so many dollars. It was actually just so many dollars I'm getting, a week. And these dollars are significant. They're important. They're able to. And from then on, my relationship completely changed. He was still the same guy, but I no longer was being triggered by him. It was like, oh, he's a madman. I mean, but I'm getting what I want. Okay, I went through the movements, the emotions. When the week came, I got my check, and it went on for a while until I stopped getting the check in a timely fashion. And that went on for just a brief period of time. And then I realized, okay, there is nothing keeping me in this job. And that was the end of the relationship, the end of him and the end of the money, because the money wasn't coming in a timely fashion.
Yeah. Well, I'll add just really quick that my income from the gallery only comes from my items that sell at the gallery. So it's really up and down. And I definitely have no problem putting up with her when I have a good month. And then when I have bad months, then
Yes.
then it's harder,
Right. Yes. So in this case, it's not steady, right. So, but it's a matter of weighing, because you're not going to change her. You can leave her, but you're not going to change her. You're not her therapist, and but the other thing I want to talk about is like bottled up pain. That's unhealthy. So it's not good for you. It's not good for your body, for your health, for your relationships. Life in general. So. She can't help herself. She can't help herself. We don't know why, how come. Maybe some good therapy for many years may help her. I don't know. But she can't avoid being like that. And you can expect that. That's how she's going to be in the next minute. You can expect that she's going to say something stupid again. We don't know what it is, but it's going to be around. It's around the corner. So it's nothing new, nothing new. It's really not your issue, It makes your work more difficult, of course. But hopefully not too much. Hopefully it makes it difficult, but not to a point where you can't go on. Because if you can go on, then you can go on. There's a certain degree of difficulty beyond which it's like, okay, you can have it, go somewhere else. So that's for you to determine, if the difficulty, the added difficulty is bearable or manageable or not. So it's for you to determine at what point that's too much for you. But again, there may be other things that you can focus on, your creative aspect, and you're now putting together a newsletter or whatever you're putting together. That's also a way in which you can focus your attention on that and be creative. There's beauty in creativity, and you're an artist, so there's enjoyment in creativity. So that's a good thing. So you can channel. You don't need to just sort of spend too much time in her space. You could sort of see how you can channel your energy, your focus, your attention in directions that don't necessarily involve her, but you can expect that she's going to intrude. just don't be so surprised. She's going to intrude with some BS thing, or La La Land. Okay, and you manage that as best you can. You will manage it. Why? Because what matters is that this is providing the goods. The package is BS, but inside there are goods. So then it's okay. You can bear with that. So,
Yeah, thank you.
yeah, life is sometimes it provides us with some fascinating challenges, and so the newsletter you're committed now to this to the newsletter is something that
Yeah. I pitched it at a meeting.
Yeah.
I put together a really good presentation about it and got everybody on board, and now I'm working with the group on the welcome message, which goes out when people sign up for the thing. And
well,
anyway,
I mean,
I don't
you can enjoy the technical aspect of creating, the newsletter and doing it, and so you can. There's a creative aspect to that. You can enjoy that, and her interference and interfacing with her. Hopefully, it doesn't rock the boat too much. You can still. Instead of like saying, "Oh, gee, why did I volunteer for the newsletter?" I mean, now that you're doing the newsletter, sort of, it's creative. Enjoy the creativity, and I'm involved in some technical work on, and also I find that it's challenging for me because I'm not too tech savvy, but also there is a certain excitement in figuring it out and getting a better format, and it's a learning process. So my attitude is, wow, yeah, interesting, fascinating. At the same time, there's a little anxiety because I don't know too much, but it's part of it. But the attitude, can focus on the creative aspect, and so you can enjoy that. You see.
Yeah. Okay.
It's important for us to enjoy some things in our life.
Yeah.
So squeeze that, whatever you enjoy, squeeze that lemon,
Got it. Yeah. Right. Okay.
The rest, I don't know. We'll see. We'll put up with it up to a point, and then who knows where we end up. What we do.
Yeah. Got it. Okay.
And also, we don't know how we affect the other. It's not that we're trying to affect the other, but we don't know how. When we are looking at our own mechanism and we're trying to figure our way, that is a loving way, that is a peaceful way, that's moving in the right direction, that very process has an effect that the mind cannot understand. So there's also that aspect of you don't know how, why we are in this situation, but somehow there is a room for this experience, otherwise it wouldn't be happening. So somehow there is something about this whole process which is right, including the madness.
Thank you.
Okay, Holly, lovely to see you. Yes.
You too.
Yes.